Hi and welcome students. Okay, so in today's lesson we will continue in our module 3, student book page 28 and 29. I will read the article, Rufaida Al Aslamiya. We will answer the questions, give you the correct answers, go over the vocabulary, and we have some exercises to go over. So let's begin. Here we have Rufaida Al Aslamiya, but before we begin, we are going to read the article, and before we begin, what qualities do you think Rufaida Al Aslamiya has? You can use the adjectives on page 23 to help you describe her qualities. So first, we know that Rufaida Al Aslamiya was famous. Rufaida was compassionate, she was brave, she was successful, and she was also dedicated. So again, Rufaida was famous, compassionate, brave, successful, and dedicated. Famous يعني مشهورة, compassionate يعني شفيق, brave يعني شجاع, successful يعني عندها موهبة, successful and dedicated, عندها she's loyal, she's dedicated to her work. So let's begin reading. Here we have Rufaida Al Aslamiya. Rufaida Al Aslamiya, Islam's first female nurse. So Rufaida Al Aslamiya, she was Islam's first female nurse. She lived during the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace be upon him, and was one of the first people in Medina to accept Islam. Okay, she was a compassionate woman who was most famous for treating soldiers in battle. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, invited her to help Muslims by giving medical help to his soldiers when they needed it the most. In times of war, Rufaida set up hospital tents next to the battlefield so that injured soldiers could be treated at once. She trained other nurses to help as many injured men as possible. They were trained to treat wounds, but also to be caring and kind. Rufaida's success was noticed by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To encourage her, a tent was set up by Prophet's mosque, peace be upon him, so she could continue her voluntary work helping the sick, using her own money. She listened to people and looked at how they lived. Then she helped them make their lives healthier and more comfortable. Just as Prophet, peace be upon him, understood the importance of her work, people around the world today, especially doctors and nurses, should continue to view Rufaida as an example of compassion. I'm going to go over some of the harder words. Here we have, like I said, compassion means shafiq. We have famous, we know that it means mashhur. We have soldiers, means junud. We have the battlefield, which is mudun al-maraka. We have injured, means al-jurha. We have voluntary, means tatawwa. We have nurse, which means mumarrida. We have she listened and looked at how they lived. يعني استمعت لهم وكانت تنتبه كيف هم عايشين كيف حياتهم. Then she wanted them to live a healthier and more comfortable life. كان إنه أمنيتها إنه الناس يعيشوا أكثر صحيين وباطمئنان يعني يكونوا عايشين باطمئنان. Excuse me. Now let's go down to exercise 3, which says read the article again, then answer the questions. Here we have, how did Rufaida's work differ between times of war and times of peace? How did Rufaida's work differ between times of war and times of peace? So it says in the article, in times of war, Rufaida helped soldiers. In times of peace, she helped the sick from the area near Prophet, peace be upon him's mosque, peace be upon him. So again, here I have them. How did Rufaida's work differ between times of war and times of peace? In times of war, Rufaida helped soldiers. يعني during وقت المعركة رفايدة ساعدت الجنديين. In times of peace, بوقت السلام, she helped the sick from the area near Prophet's mosque, peace be upon him. يوم كان في سلام وما كان في معركة, كانت تساعد الناس اللي ساكنين جنب المسجد تبع سيدنا صلى الله عليه وسلم, and she helped them, and she watched how they were living and helped them to live a healthier and more comfortable life. Here we have two. In what ways do you think Rufaida was brave? يعني أي طرق كانت رفايدة شجاعة? She was brave by setting up her tent next to the battlefield, showed how brave she was. يعني بوقت المعركة رفايدة حطت خيمة عشان إيش؟ عشان تساعد اللي مجروحين واللي انأذوا بالمعركة, وهيك بين إنه هي كتير شجاعة. 3. What do you think encouraged her to help people so much? Again, what do you think encouraged her to help people so much? Okay. إيش شجع رفايدة عشان تساعد الناس بالكثر? Her qualities like being compassionate and living during the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. يعني اللي نفسيتها كيف كانت هي حنونة وتشفق على العالم وتساعدهم, هذا ساعدها, it helped her. وكمان إيش كمان ساعدها؟ إنه هي كانت عايشة بالوقت سيدنا محمد كان عايش صلى الله عليه وسلم. هدول الأشياء يعني كيف نفسيتها كانت وكيف كانت تساعد الجرحى وتساعد الجنود, وكانت في وقت المعركة حطت خيمة وتساعد اللي مجروحين. هذا عملها إنه هي كانت شجاعة. 4. Rufaida Al Aslamiya is described as compassionate, famous, and successful. Give facts from the text to support this opinion. يعني احنا بنحكي عن رفايدة انه كانت compassionate, famous, and successful. انه هي كانت شفيقة وكانت مشهورة وكانت successful, يعني كتير عندها موهبة بالشغل اللي هو ممرضة. نعطي 3 أشياء حقيقية عنها. First, number 1, she can be described as compassionate because she helped the sick and helped to make the lives of the poor healthier and more comfortable. Number 2, she can be described as famous because her work was praised by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and she continued to be an inspiration to people around the world. Number 3, she can be described as successful because her work helped cure the wounded and to teach other women to become nurses too. So, we gave the reasons. We said that Rufaida Al Aslamiya, الصفات عنها إنه compassionate, famous, and successful. وأعطينا الأسباب ليش كانت compassionate, why she was famous, and why she was successful. She was compassionate لأنه ساعدت المريضين والفقراء, وساعدتهم إنه يعيشوا حياة صحية أكتر ويعيشوا بطمئن أكتر. she's famous يعني كانت مشهورة. ليش؟ لأنه شغلها وقد ما كانت حنونة وكانت تساعد العالم, إنه سيدنا محمد انتبه لها صلى الله عليه وسلم, انتبه لها وساعدها ساعدها بشغلها, وعشان هيك هي كانت مشهورة. successful لأنه شغلها كان إنه عشان تساعد المجروحين اللي في المعركة, وتساعد وتدرس السيدات كيف يكونوا ممرضات زيها. يعني تعلمهم كيف يكونوا ممرضين زيها. Okay, now let's move along. Here we have, look at the underlined words in this paragraph. Are they nouns, adjectives, or verbs? Again, look at the underlined words in this paragraph. Are they nouns, adjectives, or verbs? Here we have يعني are they, so we are going to talk about each underlined word and what it is and why we chose the noun, adjective, or verb. Rufaida was Islam's first female nurse. Here we have nurse. What is nurse? Nurse is a noun. Why? ليش؟ لأنه nurse اسم لأنه وقع يعني وقع بعد صفة first female. Okay, so we have الصفة first female and nurse came after it, so that's how we know that it's a noun. She was very brave and became famous for treating wounded soldiers in battle. Here we have brave. Brave is an adjective. Okay, brave يعني شجاع, and هو صفة, and brave حكينا صفة لأنها وقعت بعد very. So we have very, she was very, brave. So we have very before brave. Brave is an adjective which is صفة, and we should know that it's an adjective لأنه إجت بعد very. Next we have and became famous for treating wounded soldiers in battle. So our next word is famous. We know that famous is an adjective, and famous means مشهور, and famous also is a صفة. And كيف عرفنا إنه famous صفة؟ famous صفة لأنها وقعت بعد الفعل become. الفعل become, I'm sorry. So again, famous صفة لأنها وقعت بعد الفعل become. Okay, so we have become, brave, become, which is, became. And we know that had a فعل, so we know that it's an adjective because famous became بعد الفعل become. Next we have for treating wounded soldiers in battle. Battle يعني معركة, and battle is a noun which is اسم. Noun means اسم. Now ليش كيف عرفنا إنه battle noun؟ battle اسم لأنه وقع بعد حرف جر مثل in. Okay, so we have wounded soldiers in battle. So we have, حرف جر in and then battle. So that's how we know هو اسم because لأنه قبليه إجا حرف جر. Next sentence is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was pleased with the great work that she did. Okay, so here we have did is underlined. Did يعني did فعل, and it's a verb يعني فعل. How did we know that did is a verb? Because did فعل لأنه وقع بعد ضمير فاعل مثل she. Okay, so we know it's a verb because it came after, it came after she. Okay, again, how did we know that did is a verb? did فعل لأنه وقع بعد ضمير فاعل مثل she. Our next sentence is we should learn about her achievements. We should learn about her achievements. Learn يعني نتعلم. Learn فعل. Okay, so learn is a verb. Okay, فعل يعني verb. كيف عرفنا إنه learn is a verb? Learn فعل لأنه وقع بعد فعل ناقص should. Okay, so again, learn هو فعل لأنه وقع بعد الفعل ناقص should. So it came after should, so we should know that it's a verb. Okay, again, nurse يعني ممرضة, it's a noun. brave شجاع صفة adjective famous يعني مشهور وكمان صفة adjective battle يعني معركة and it's a noun يعني اسم did فعل it's a verb learn يتعلم فعل which is a verb. Okay, next we have skip 5, we're not doing listening. Now we have Baybarbs was Sultan of Egypt and Syria. In 1260, Baybars led the soldiers that won the Battle of Ain Jalut against the Mongols. After the death of Qutuz, Baybars became Sultan of Egypt. Baybar's system for delivering messages made it possible to send messages from Cairo to Damascus in 4 days. He built bridges, canals, and mosques. He supported Islamic science and encouraged medical research. Baybars died in Damascus on June 1st, 1277. Okay, you can fill in the correct answers. This is just a little article about Baybarbs and Sultan of Egypt and Syria. So we have 1 Egypt, 2 Sultan, 3 bridges, 4 science, and 5 June 1st, 1277. We are going to go down to exercise number 7, and here we have write down the ways that Rufaida helped people and became famous. Do you think she is a good example of compassion for people today؟ يعني بدنا نكتب طرق كيف رفايدة الطرق كيف رفايدة ساعدت الناس وصارت مشهورة and إحنا برأينا هي كانت مثال حقيقي ويعني مثال جيد للعالم اليوم. هي كانت يعني هي كانت مثال عشان إحنا نطلع عليها نعمل زيها أو لا. Here we have 1. So here we have write down how she helped people and became famous. نكتب كيف نكتب الطرق التي ساعدت بها الناس وصارت مشهورة and نكتب إذا بنفكر نعتقد إنها مثال جيد إلى الناس اليوم. First we have she treated soldiers in battle. This is a very good صفة لأنه هي ساعدت الجنديين في المعركة. 2. She trained other nurses to help as many injured men as possible. يعني هي دربت امرأة عشان يكونوا ممرضين زيها عشان يساعدوا في المعركة ويساعدوا يعني قد ما بيقدروا. 3. She also helped the sick using her own money. كانت تساعد المريضين واستعملت المال تبعها هي ما حدا ساعدها من مالها هي. 4. كمان صفة she helped people make their lives healthier and more comfortable. Yes, she is a good example of compassion for people today. يعني هي ساعدت الناس إنه عشان يعيشوا حياة صحية أكتر ويكونوا يعني مرتاحين بالحياة. Was she a good example for people today? Yes, she was a very good example. She was compassionate, she was caring, she was loyal, she was kind, and she volunteered. يعني she was a volunteer. يعني هي ما حدا دفع لها وكانت تستعمل مالها ومن كتر ما كان عندها صفات منيحة وجيدة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم انتبه لها وساعدها إنه إنه خيم عشان تساعد الناس. And that is it. That's it for these 2 pages. Make sure you write the correct answers, and until our next lesson, have a great day.